Open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome on another terrific Thursday as we get thoughtful in our thinking. Think about that. 949-837, 949-629-90. We want to call and share your thoughts and be a part of the congratulations that are in store as we bring the power to you. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. If you can't laugh on a Thursday, man, try it on a Friday and hopefully Wednesday works as well. My good friend, Tuna McInerney, good afternoon, man. How are you?
very well, Sterling, and thanks for having us here.
Thank you very much, man, and publicly congrats on your consistency, the example, and thanks for not just working with the young people, but showing them that you can do much if you do it together, and the reward is great, but it's even better when you share it. So the power is just more than in the hand, in the heart, in the mind. It's in the spirit.
Yes, it is.
This weekend gone, right? Yeah,
last week.
Yeah,
whole week.
The whole week. So Saturday, I think a friend had come by and you were doing some stuff the day before, setting up, getting things in order, which was sort of indicative of the last year and sort of preparing, not just physical training, but getting it all organized for another fantastic tournament. You've been here for us a couple times, sharing the promotion and upcoming. Tell us about it. I mean, powerlifting is more than just a feat of strength.
Oh, it is. Let's start off. I mean, we had the biggest North American powerlifting championship, and it's been in operation now 21 years, and this was the 20th North American championship, and we had 300 athletes, 15 countries throughout North America and the Caribbean. So that shows what the sport has. And of course, when Cayman, we had 12 athletes, and of course I got two of the guys here with me. Some of our juniors, they said they needed a break from it, so they're gone on vacation enjoying their summer. So I can't blame them. I wish I could.
Yeah, well, it just shows you that that the reward was great. They were able to bring themselves to that space. We had talked about it before, and maybe I can ask through you to revisit. There's powerlifting, there's bodybuilding, there's all different types of, for want of a better word, sort of weight training and weight lifting like competitions. Mm-hmm. Help us to appreciate the difference of what is powerlifting, if you don't mind.
Sure, not a problem. Powerlifting consists of your three basic movements. Mm-hmm. Your squat. Of course, we take out the bar, we put it on our shoulders or on our back, and we have to do a squat position, which in powerlifting we have to break parallel. Most guys in the gym just hit parallel, negative, just the hip joint just barely below the breaking point of parallel, and of course stand back up. The easy part is going down, the hard part's coming back up. Of course, then you've got the bench press, which a lot of guys like to do, but ours is disciplined. We have to wait on the judge's call. So, one, our heads can't lift off the bench. our butts can't lift, our feet can't lift, raise, move, all kinds of what you see guys in the gym and bouncing it. None of that is actually allowed. So it's very disciplined. It's very, and also the elbow and the shoulder. The elbow has to pass the shoulder. Whereas years ago, and it just happened last year, where you see people breaking world records. It's like, how's that a world record? They barely even move their hands. Well, now that's actually changed. Thank God, because fellas like myself and Zared and Lex here with the long hands, it was kind of a little unfair to the fellow who has short hands. But yes, I mean, of course, that's also commanded. You get the start command, you bring it to your chest, and it pauses.
All right.
And they wait for it to sit, then you push. Then he tells you press all the way to the top, elbows locked, then you get the rack command. Now, the deadlift, as I say, the king of all lifts is from the floor to your waist. Now, you're not allowed to stop on the way up, which are rested against your legs. Anything like that is classed as we call hitching. Now, you'll see hitching sometimes in the strongman where they'll pull it and they'll drag and they'll kind of bounce it on their legs. We're not allowed. We have to go straight from the floor to your waist.
One constant motion.
Correct. Now, it looks like sometimes you'll see guys, and it's happened, Zared, myself, Lex, it's happened to us all, where it looks like it's not moving, but trust me, it's moving. And we have to get to that locked position where your shoulders are, and you got control of the weight and standing at the top.
Yeah. Now, in some exercises we have termed Romanian deadlift. Is that just a terminology? Is that what it is? How does that?
No, we got two types of deadlifts: conventional and sumo.
Right.
Sumo is where legs are closer to the weight, spread apart, basically almost like a split, and you pull with your hands through the center. Conventional is like what you see with the strongman, and where your feet are in the middle, your hands are to the outside, like standing. Yeah. That's a conventional deadlift. That's the one I do. Zared does the sumo. Lex, he does the conventional.
And they both would be allowed in the same.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Just depending on the style you wish to adopt.
Correct. A lot of people like the sumo because it's a little easier. Because if it's coming off the floor, the chances are
wider. You're more,
you are, and it's a lot of legs at the bottom, and your back is to straighten at the top. Whereas conventional, we pay the price afterwards.
You see, I'm always gonna enjoy the discussion, because he says, that it's easier. He looks at you, because that's your style. What do you think?
Not easier.
Not easier. All right, we're gonna take the break, Miss Susan. All right, when we come back, turn it through you, get you introduce both of them formally for us, and then we get into the banter, and maybe give them a lesson. You can try us after the break.
Get ready for more with Digicell's all-new prepaid plans. More any-use data to browse. Entertainment data for Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok. Plus, stay connected with endless social data for Snapchat, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. With Digicell's new prepaid plans, you'll never miss a beat. Activate in the My Digicel app today. Digicel. Better connected.
How can you make a classic BLT sandwich even better? Well, by adding tuna. The land meets the sea in Subway's new sandwich, the Tuna BLT, available for a limited time. The Tuna BLT is exploding with flavor. Imagine crispy, juicy bacon strips on top of tuna, fresh lettuce, and slices of tomato, topped with your favorite sauce and choice of freshly baked bread. Enjoy the best of both worlds with the Tuna BLT from Subway. Subway, eat fresh.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Kim Brack and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
STEPS participant, if you're wondering why the STEPS team can't get your blood sugar or cholesterol data directly from your doctor, the answer is simple. Your personal medical information is private and confidential. This is why we need you to participate in Step 3, so that we can collect the data we need with your informed consent. So please say yes to Step 3. For more information, call the STEPS team 936-4969.
Talk today. But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back and thanks for joining us. And as you get a chance not just to celebrate individual accomplishments, we've got to showcase what we have in the country that together we can really be proud. The Cayman's Powerlifting Organization, right? Tony McInerney, thanks very much. And we joke and jest as friends. We do so sometimes on air and even privately. But you're an example. And you remind us that if you set the tone and the pace for others, you invite and you include and you involve. It's like my shirt of choice today. It's not just because it's a beautiful, bright color. This is from the Lighthouse School. They do an annual walk and inclusion. Bring them along, love with them, laugh with them, learn with them. You see how beautiful life is, and their accomplishments will remind us of how much we take for granted. Just during the break, if you don't mind, I was relaying a demonstration you had done back in your youth of 50, right? With a CVH. and to take a weight in excess of 500 pounds and be able to lift it up properly without injury. Not many of us can do that, no matter how strong we may be or think we are. So it takes technique, it takes training, and it takes dedication, right?
Yep, for sure.
And that is something that we can appreciate. So through you, Zara, maybe introduce him first. Bring him into the equation. Where did you get him involved? And then we'll get him to relax then you, right?
Well, I first met Zara through my wife's, my nephew, Jamil, who also was lifting.
Mm-hmm.
And I shook his hand. And the first thing I said to him was, I need to get you in the gym. So why? And he really didn't have a lot of interest at the time. Like, yeah. And it's like, whatever.
He was very shy too.
He was, but he just didn't realise what the potential he had. I did from that handshake. And I eventually convinced him. And he competed in 2012. We had our very first North American Championship here in the Weston. And Zara came in, and we trained hard.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, that time, what were you, 148? I think you're 148 kilo, 148 pounds.
146.
You bring that mic closer to you, right? Yeah, thanks.
146.
Like this, yeah. But there's a plate of food, man. Bring it in close.
So at the time, he was like, we held at 148 weight class, we held the Caribbean record, which was of course by Jamil, a friend of his.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a lot of fun. And of course he went and broke it. He broke it at 429 pound deadlift at 146 pounds weighing. So that was quite an achievement. So since then, Darrett has been, of course, went to school, they got his education and stuff, but always would be in contact with me, seeing when the comps are, and sometimes it would clash with schooling and when he's traveling. And thankfully now he's back on the podium again and he's back on the platform lifting. So honestly, it's fantastic to see from being in school, from John Gray, coming out of there, still loving the sport, enjoying it, and still wants to compete and just give it all. And not only that, but it's also what I love about these guys here that I got here today. They love passing on their knowledge back down to some of the younger guys coming in lifting. We're in the gym, we share, we watch, and it's not just people look at me and call me coach, but you know what? Sometimes the coach needs coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And we get that from the younger lifters, and they watch me lifting, and we're watching each other. So it's a team effort. Yeah. This is not just an individual sport. It is an individual on the platform, but of course, Zara, of course, is one of our lifters here that I can always say I can rely on him. If he's in the gym and I got younger ones there, he's encouraging them, helping them. If I'm already training, it's just, overall, what can I say? I mean, these guys these are the future of the sport. If we don't have these guys coming in, it's dead, and it's dead in the water. So, I mean, at that, Zara will tell you what his whole take of the sport is, and of course the battle he had, this one, I mean, that was, trust me, Sterling, I'm in the back warming up, I'm watching the TV, and all I'm seeing is Cayman, Panama, Cayman, Panama, Cayman, Panama. I'm like, oh God, yeah. And the thing, we all know each other. In the back, we're the best of friends. With Panama, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Trinidad, US, Canada, I mean, Belize, you name it. I mean, we're all back there, best friends. But out on that platform, we're all out there to lift more than each other. But when you come off, it's a handshake, it's a high five, it's well done.
Yeah, it's encouraging. It's a competition, but it's camaraderie.
Correct.
From your perspective, I mean, share us out.
It's actually an amazing sport. It teaches you discipline, perseverance, mental fortitude. It's like, okay, how much more can I get? Like, once you start, you just can't stop. No matter how much time you take off, it's like, maybe I can do that. Because like I said, I'm only now breaking 5, and I've been training from 2012. And even then, I was like, if I continue, how much further would I have been now? And yeah, you really find out a lot about yourself at this sport. It's like, okay, I am actually that strong.
You test yourself, right?
Correct.
So, coach talks about when he first saw you. Sometimes it takes someone to see in you what you don't see in yourself, or where you might see, but because of how our society is, you're fully yourself. And some people might be, right? But he encouraged, he nurtured, but you also receptive to being coached, to being involved.
No, for sure, because I spent a lot of time playing football. Because I was playing football from the time I was like 7 years old, so that was my thing, football. But then when I saw my friend Jamil lifting, I was like, maybe. I was like, nah. I was like, nah. But then I met Tony, and Tony was like, you have a strong handshake. I was like, so I've been told. He's like, you should come and lift. I was like, nah. Then I saw him again. He was like, you gonna come? I was like, no. And then eventually, you know what? Gave in. It were by the boxing gym at the time. You know what? It's right there. Why not? First day, oh man, horrible. It was humbling. Horrible. I was like, Tony, I can't pick up the bar. It's one plate. He was like, I was like, oh man. But you know what? Technique. Correct. Technique. And we learned a lot. We had, who was it that came down? Was it Robert came down? Was it him that beat?
Robert, yeah.
Yeah,
Robert Keller.
He came down and he was like, okay, you know what? This is how you walk up to the bar. This is how you hold the bar. This is how you position yourself. And literally within a few weeks, my lift started to go from 135, 225, 285, 315. And I was like, how much more can I get?
Yeah.
And it kept going. And then for that meet, I was like, Tony, you know what? Let's go for it.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jamil, going for it. He's like, all right. So went out and I got it to my knees, and a bit of a struggle, but it just kept moving. And eventually I locked it out, and I was like, all right.
And you can't drop it.
Nope. You have to control it back down. Your hands have to stay on the bar.
Yeah, it's not. And that's, I'll come back to that in a second, because we talked about the competition the other day, but don't introduce you. Do the honors and introduce Lexia. How would you introduce him? You're the promoter and the commentator. He's coming up to the podium. Come on, man. Let me see you do it today. Come on.
I'll let Lex do it.
We practiced this, didn't we? You didn't get the memo?
No,
you didn't get the
not at all.
Well, my friend, he left you to go. You shouldn't have came late.
Work life gets in the way,
Yeah. So, all right, come close down. Were you afraid down, Mike? No. You just talk, man. Go ahead.
All right, so
you're not handsome in this radio.
First time being on the radio. All right, well,
he's nervous. There's a long-tailed cat in the room full of rocking chairs. Come on, Lex.
All right, so when I first started powerlifting, in 2012, and I went away to.
Was it 12 or 11?
11.
11. Now, how old you were you? What year it was?
I was 17 at the time. I was 17 at the time, and I competed in. It would be the Caribbean one, right?
Correct. St. Thomas.
We were at St. Thomas, and I don't remember how much I was lifting at the time, but I was doing boxing first. I used to go to the boxing gym.
You remember?
And I saw Tony. I saw him doing the heavyweights. I was like, now that is something I could do. That I know we can do. I don't know about boxing. Boxing wasn't taking me nowhere at the time. Because I was a big heavy dude. I loved boxing, but I still did the powerlifting, and that's where I stuck with. And I'm just sticking with it. That was the sport that I ended up sticking with. Oh. And since then, that's what I've been doing. And in 2012, I competed here. I don't remember which class I was in at the time. I was a lot more smaller then.
5th grade. Oh, you meant?
I was a lot more smaller then. I was small. I think I was like under the 120 or so. And I'm in the 120 plus now.
110.
110 at the time.
At the time,
I was a lot more smaller.
Yeah.
And I recently competed in the 120 plus class where the big boys are.
Yeah.
And that opened my eyes to a lot of them heavyweights. You see a man squatting 900 pounds and you just squatting a little 400, and I'm like, yeah, that's where you need to be. So, but powerlifting has taught me a lot, especially when you have kids that are on the heavy set side. Yeah. Like me, I got teased a lot because I was a big dude. I can't run. I can't. Yeah, I don't know what big bones. Just we got a lot of meat on us. And when you get looked at because you can't run fast, you don't have agility. Yeah. You're not somebody who can maneuver good. Well, we got powerlifting. To me, the powerlifting is for us big guys. Us big guys, we can compete in that because we got all the meat, and we got carry that meat around, so we got a lot of the muscle. So we can squat, we can deadlift, and we can bench press. And that's why I saw there at the competition.
Yeah, man. I always love your spirit. If anybody don't know, Lex, man, you're just full of life. I mean, we all are. You guys are, right? But you just have a love and a passion, a sincerity, and the way you approach it, man. I
love it, man. I love powerlifting.
Respect, man.
I started training again. Tony was training me to do the bench press competition back in 2016, and that's why I hit my marks. I did 315 bench press. And I forget, I put on Instagram, and that went popular.
You got like 5 people looking at it, right?
5 people, a couple of thousands. There was 1,000 couple of people, and then the most shocking one was when I did the 496 pound at the gym. Mm-hmm. The deadlift, and people. The great thing about it is when you're in the gym, ain't much people in there heavy lifting, but when they see it, the gym just goes quiet. Yeah. Everybody stops what they're doing and watches you. Yeah. That's like we had Ray Williams here, right? When the warm up room, when he was warming up, it's loud up there. But when he warming up, everybody stops what they're doing and goes quiet. So when you see somebody lifting heavy, they're just shock and awe.
Yeah, man.
And that's one thing I like about it too. People just gravitate to watch you do it when you're in the gym. And then after that, people got asked. Like when I was at the gym the other day, I did 505, and I had people come like, "What do you eat? What do you do? How do you get so heavy? How do you lift so heavy?" Just good nutrition. You have to have good nutrition and recovery. Yeah. Lots of protein, amino acids. Got to take all that. And then the thing with the competition too, you have strict, when it comes to like strict drugs and stuff like that you take. Like the what's it called again, Coach?
ADL, I know.
The ADL,
which is water.
You gotta watch the supplements you take.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be certain supplements. Like for example, if you have asthma, that has to be looked at to get done. For example, asthma pumps. Mm-hmm. That has to be looked at. Because that could be seen as an enhancement. Yeah. So all that I learned. And powerlifting teaches you that.
Yeah, man.
It teaches you to be natural.
Yeah. I look on the table and I see a lot of gold. And then I see some other stuff. Alright, so when I come back from the break, laugh at us some more, and I'm hopefully through you guys we will be even more encouraged, become part of the organization, but see what it can. I mean, just watching you all from a distance has been inspiring. It got me wanting to look at life even more. And thanks very much. So when we come back, let's talk about the competition. Let's talk about the wins, not just what we bring home and brag about, but the wins that go beyond what we've done around our necks. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
All right. Join us after the break.
Introducing Digicel's all-new prepaid plans. Packed with more any-use data than ever before. Entertainment data for the apps you love, like Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok. Plus, endless social data for Snapchat, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So you're always in the know. Stay connected. Stay entertained with Digicel's new prepaid plans. Activate in the My Digicel app today. Digicel. Better connected. You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Are you tired of waiting in long lines at the pharmacy just to fill a prescription?
If what, child, let me tell you.
Well, now you can save time and money with ValueMed's online prescription service. Visit ValueMed's new website, valrx.com, and click the Refill Subscriptions button. Fill in your information and choose your preferred pickup location. Or email your prescription refills for ValueMed Walkers Road at rx-wr@valrx.com, and for ValueMed in Boddentown, email rx-bt at valrx.com. Say goodbye to the hassle of waiting in lines and hello to the convenience of online prescriptions with ValueMed Pharmacy. Visit valrx.com to place your orders today.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
Talk to Dick. But I do have some questions.
Talk to Dick. Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk to Dick.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Back. Thank you for joining us. And I'm hoping you're not only enjoying the laughter and the banter, but you're being inspired and motivated and recognizing that we have not just great talent, great people in our society, but together we can not only attract greatness, but we can propel each other. Tony Mike, the idea, as both Zara and Lexi shared, it's about physical demonstration of strength. That's what we'll see. But in there, as I understand it, it goes beyond that. There's the mental strength, there's the spiritual sort of nurturing camaraderie that you get from coach and fellow competitor. Not even your comrade, as it were. Your competitor is rooting you on many times. Mm-hmm. That's the love for the sport, which is kind of unusual for most places, you know.
It is one of the few sports that you leave it in a platform.
Yeah.
You know, you can lift it or you can't. You know, there's always a question sometimes, and that's why we have a jury table. And we actually had an incident like that with ourselves, where I had a lifter, Roland Ebanks, Special Olympian, and they didn't give him one of the lifts, but I had a white light, so it gave me an opening to go question, and I questioned it, and I got it overturned because I felt it was an unfair call. And that's the beauty about the sport, that there's a lot of camaraderie, like you said, with competitors, like I said, with Zared on the platform against Panama, and we also had Bogdan against Jamaica. They were battling it out to literally the last lift. You know, I mean, and we always get this. Now that's where the fun is. And when Zared came off with Panama, Panama was in the back. I'm warming up. I'm sitting down waiting to compete myself, and they're in the back. He missed, unfortunately, for us. But, of course, he laughed, and he's like, yes, he got it. But you know what? The shoe's on the other foot. I've seen it, too. But when they came off, I mean, and in fairness to Zared and everybody else, came back with a smile on his face. No, he gave it everything.
That's right.
And a high five, and it was a handshake, hug, well done, thank you. And that's where it's left. And that's The one thing I love with the North American Powerlifting Federation, this is what you get. Every single person in there knows the hard work and the dedication you put in to stepping out. And just stepping out there is not easy, you know. When you know you're on YouTube, that in itself is now you know when you're squatting you're going to make up your face, and it looks and I look absolutely hilarious because I get told I'm as red as a beetroot. Eyes going to pop out of my head. They think I'm going to pass out. But you know out there, every single lifter is the same, puts the same dedication in. You know, and that's the beauty about it, and that's why I love to see when I see younger guys, sub-junior like Zared, Lex, they all come in as sub-juniors, juniors, lifters, and you know, and this is the beauty about it. You continue throughout your life, and even when they got kids and mentor other students.
So when they get your age is what you're saying, basically.
Come on, that's what you're saying. I'm still in open division. Stop. I completed open division last year. Okay, I'm Masters 2 this year. But yeah, I mean, but it is. I mean, it is a lot of fun. Yeah. And again, we can sit here today and laugh and joke about it, and know that powerlifting has given them an outlet throughout life to show that no matter what you do, you can gain a lot from it.
Yeah, I do recognize the time, and certainly, as I said previously, we'll come back home. But you mentioned Roland Ebanks just prior, Special Olympian, right? And for many of us, I mean, Lex said it in his usual very, 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 you know, encouraging and motivating way. We're the big guys, right? Got a lot of meat on their bones. This is for people as strong and as our handshake was. Until you get the technique, until you get the opportunity, until you get encouraged, you know, you won't see your full potential. Roland, he
enjoys it, you know. I mean, it's fitness,
and this is part of what the motivation was for the shirt, because he's one of us. We're one of him. There's no difference.
He's a character in our gym.
Yeah.
If you're late, he would call you out. He would tell you you're late.
Yeah.
And he'd call you a bad boy. You're late. You're late, and point to that watch. You're late. But you're correct.
He inspires, right? But he's also inspired. He was setting the example, but you have to set an example for him. And he doesn't have to be just Roland. He can be George, Mike, or Peter, or Sue. And that's what it's about. Right? And I really want to say thanks, man. That's important. You know?
That's the real reason where I am, Sterling. It's from the youths to open, masters, whoever wants it. I mean, powerlifting is a sport, but our biggest focus is always helping our younger people get into something that can encourage you. You may not like he didn't like the soccer. Boxing wasn't, but weights is something that he just fell in love with. I know I can watch Lex. He walked off that platform, got a PB out there, and twice broke it, and then broke it again. So you know, I mean, that's who you're competing against on that platform. Yes, there's World International we're competing against, but a lot of time we're competing against ourselves, and know we can achieve something we've worked hard to get.
Can I ask then, Lex, from that perspective? I mean, unless a person has done something and then bested what they did, you really don't always appreciate it. You embrace that, you epitomize it, you encourage that just through your training, as well. But what's that like? You see, you found your niche and you continue to excel.
It feels good to know, like at the competition, one of my PRs for this year was to hit 496. I did that in the gym, and then 2 days before the competition, I did 505. I was surprised. And at the comp now, I did 507. That's a new PR. And I was like, Coach, just give me what do you think I can lift? He gave me 529. Got it up, and ramping up against my legs. I got 3 reds, but I got it off the ground.
Which is something you didn't think was possible.
I was shocked. But now I know I can lift it.
Yeah. That's like the longest journey begins with a single step, right? So start with that as you get to the closing. Coach talked about, you know, the competition. Panama came on. You shared it with me briefly, but it's more than that.
It was exciting. I didn't realize we were going head to head until after the first clip. I said, "Wait, same numbers." I was like, "Let's go for it. Let's see who actually come out on top, right?" And we're tied in squats. Even for bench, we're still tied. Deads is when he started to like pull away. I missed my last bench, and we're going. I said, you know what? If I can pull this number, which was 606, I'll get a gold for deadlift and a gold overall. It's like, you know what, Tony? Let's go for it. You can only try. And I went out there. It didn't feel heavy, but obviously I know it was heavy. It didn't feel heavy. I got it to my knees, and it just wouldn't budge. It just, no matter how hard I pulled, it wouldn't budge. And I missed it. I was like, you know what? It's all right. But no, I can actually pick up 606 off the ground. That's one. And then two is a marker for next year.
Correct.
So next year will be 606 plus more.
Hey, that is, I think, one thing I would like to resonate with all of us, especially as parents, coaches, teachers, but the individual. We can achieve more than we actually sometimes are told.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. It's just what you get off of that when you walk out of a gym, knowing that you've hit a number that you never thought possible. That in itself, and all the guys here, and any person, even the ladies, will tell you, wow, I just nailed it, you know. And I mean, again, you know, I know we're short in time, but you know, I first off, I mean, a lot of this championship wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for our sponsors. You know, and a lot of it actually goes to our Minister of Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage. You know, I mean, Bernie showed up every day. Every day he was there on that platform.
I got a lot of meat in his bones, yeah.
And you know, I mean, for him, Bernie, in fairness, he was there encouraging, watching all our athletes, shouting, doing everything else, you know. And I mean, I thought it was fantastic to have him there. And of course, because our Minister of Tourism and Port, they also a big sponsored, you know, because we had a lot of over 300, we had about close to 400 people come onto the island for this championship. And of course we had Mac Plumbing, myself, and of course we had KPMG, we had CSDI, we had Cox Lumber, GNC Accountability Services. I know I'm forgetting somebody. I'm going to get Guardians Alive. You know, so I mean, a lot of this couldn't have happened if it wasn't for them. Of course, our host, Marriott Hotel. You know, but you know, outside of that, you know, I mean, there was a lot that went on. I mean, I quickly go down through our thing on all the athletes who was actually competing. We had Claire Rafferty. She was a Masters 169 kilo. She actually came 5th overall. We had Duane Sylvia, another Masters 176 kilo. She was also 5th. But then we had Shania Espanidos Brighton. She was 84 kilo plus. Now, she did a bronze in the squat and deadlift, and she did us proud on that, and she hit PBs on that as well. Then we had Ariane McCoy, junior lifter. She did silver in squat, bronze in squat, silver in bench press, and bronze in her deadlift, and a bronze overall. So she did fantastic. We had Brendan Foley, his first time out, only lifting, probably competitively in powerlifting, a couple of months, 3 or 4 months, and he was 4th overall. Then we had his brother Daniel. Now that was quite a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
watching Daniel lift. He went all out. He got bronze overall, but then it came down to he got silver on the bench press, and he got bronze in the deadlift. But he went for a North American record. He didn't get it, but by God, did he give it everything on that platform. I mean, you want to see energy. And I got plenty of Instagram messages saying the energy that was in that hall throughout that championship, and even more when the Cayman lifters came out on platform. It was just, I mean, they'd be chanting the names, they'd be shouting, cheering. I mean, it was just fantastic. Then, of course, we had Bogdan, who did silver medal overall for us for Cayman. With Jordan McErlin. We had Mr. Lex over here, and we had Zared here, who, like we already heard with Zared how well he did, you know. And of course myself, I didn't do too bad myself on it,
so I hear.
So Masters too, so I didn't get what I wanted, but I did get 2 personal records, which was on squat and bench press. We were hoping for the North American record ourselves, but it didn't happen. Next year, Arizona.
Arizona. Maybe we carry contingent.
Oh, I hope so. And I tell you, we are moving location. Sorry, I know we are moving location, and I would like to encourage, especially the junior and sub-junior, please do contact us. I would love to have a full junior, sub-junior squad heading out to Arizona next year, and to keep growing and show them that we are to be reckoned with.
We ain't nothing to play with. We here to play.
Yeah, man. Well, it was great listening to you on our Sports Extra program a couple of Tuesdays ago. Looking forward to listening to you on that as we focus on sport, but having you guys back on here and talk today. And you know, as Lex said, we're not here to play, right?
We're not here to play.
Yeah, all right.
Stay.
There you go. All right, gents. Pleasure. Thanks for the motivation. Thanks for sharing with us.
Thank you for having us.
Looking forward to having more conversation, much more extended. And congrats again. If that's not even enough to say how proud we are, but we are indeed.
Thank you.
Right. Listen to what our news team shares and then return for more talk today. Mario Rankin will sit with us.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio K-Man's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority and the Ministry of Tourism and Transport.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Cayman Islands Red Cross will be hosting its 25th annual golf tournament on Friday, September 1st at the North Sound Golf Club. This milestone event celebrates a quarter-century of supporting communities in need. To learn more, email rcm@redcross.org.ky or call 949-6785. In international news, one of the largest cities in Canada's north is being evacuated amid warnings that a wildfire could reach it by the weekend. The 20,000 residents of Yellowknife, the capital of the Northwest Territories, have been given until noon Friday to leave. As of Thursday morning, the fire was within 10 miles of the city. Another fire is threatening the community of Hay River. One evacuee told the CBC her car began melting as she and her family drove through embers while fleeing that town. The world's longest rail tunnel has been shut to passenger services after a derailment in Switzerland caused damage that will take months to repair. Swiss authorities said there was no indication when the Gotthard-based tunnel would reopen. 16 wagons derailed and are still stuck inside a week after the incident on August 10th. Opened in 2016, the rail link took 20 years to build and cost more than $12 billion. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio K-Man's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority and the Ministry of Tourism and Transport.
The Health Services Authority has over 120 world-class physicians offering the most comprehensive range of specialist services on island. Our dedicated team of professionals provide the highest quality care in orthopedics, interventional radiology, women's health, geriatrics, and a host of other specialist areas. We are a JCI accredited organization with a proven record of excellence. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you. For more information, visit hsa.ky.
I'm Heather Bodden, MP for Savannah and a lifelong advocate for the environment. Illegal dumping is a crime, so please take civic pride in our home and put litter where it belongs. If you see someone littering, report it to the Department of Environmental Health on 949-6696.
Be a part of the solution, not the pollution. Littering is a crime punishable by a $500 fine or 6 months in prison. Brought to you by the Beautification Task Force and Ministry of Tourism and Ports.
Radio K-Man is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands. Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts, MBE, JP. Following a successful and decorated shipping and military career, Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts, MBE, JP, returned back to Cayman Brac. In 1953, an enterprising Captain Keith began a small retail grocery business in Watering Place. The entrepreneurial spirit he developed 20 years prior while working in the family-owned soft drink factory at Cotton Tree Bay would shine through, turning the grocery business into Tibmart Supermarket in 1974, introducing gift stamps for purchases and pioneering self-service shopping in Cayman Brac. Keith Tibbetts was fond of saying, "They stocked everything to take you from the cradle to the grave." Captain Keith's entrepreneurial efforts stretched far, and he began landing cars by pontoons in 1955. He also owned and operated the island's first rock crusher and started commercial farming on the bluff. He then opened a gas station in 1955, served as Airways agent until 1980, and in 1975 was appointed agent with Red Carpet Airlines, part owned by his brother Linton. He also operated a sub-post office, taught local men carpentry, built 12 houses, and sold them to young seamen, assembled a steel staircase, and built the platform for the stratoscopic antenna for cable and wireless at Stake Bay, worked as an agent for Modern General Insurance Company, operated Skipper's Lodge Guest House, Kesson Rent-A-Car, served as an agent for Thompson Shipping Company, and owned and operated a gift shop at the Brack Reef Hotel. This was part 6 of a special Sister Islands vignette series dedicated to Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts.
I'll be back. I've got 22 more days.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back. Thank you very much for joining us, and it was truly a pleasure to sit and chat with Tuna McInerney and to have the inspiration as we sit now and welcome Mario Rankin. For me, to listen to those guys, right? And it's not just a celebration of how much weight they can bench press or lift or the like. It's the idea that they're doing it competing against each other, but at the same time cheering on each other. If that can be done in a competition, why we in society can't work together? I don't know, but you always come on, we have a good conversation, and people are left thinking. So thank you very much, man. How you been?
I'm good, man. Thank you for inviting me on so we can continue the open dialogue about just about anything we feel is pressing. And certainly I didn't get an opportunity to listen to the guys on the way in because the radio in my car not working anymore. I try and get that fixed. And but I happen to know all three of the gentlemen.
Yeah.
So but yeah, it's always good to see, you know, at least people still doing what they love to do, and as you mentioned, you know, whereas they're competing against each other but being also supportive of each other in the same sport, which is commendable as far as I'm concerned.
Amazing. We do have a caller, right? All right, let's go to the phones. Welcome. Thank you for sharing.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Sterling.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
Oh, not too bad. And hi, Mario.
Good afternoon, Miss Jan.
I didn't know you were having our champion on today.
Aye.
That's good. And you got to get that radio fixed because, you know, about one radio station that we can really rely on, and it's ours, and we can't change it too much.
Yeah, man. I agree.
A lot of people want to change, but they change that, boy. We got to be warring here, man.
No.
Yeah. Yes. How are you?
Not too bad. Yesterday, when you were closing off your show, you led until 2:45. And I was driving home with my grandchildren, and all you do is you need to stop, and you shine a bright light there on us for the few minutes that you stayed on for, you know, and I have come to the conclusion that what is happening around us, I think it hit some core in you yesterday, or it has hit a core in you for a long time, but you just popped the bubble yesterday, and that's how we need to hear you talk more.
Wow.
So you can think about that and leave that right there, because I don't want one of my minutes to be away from you.
Well, I'm very. Thank you, Shinapuk. I'm glad that whatever I said was not only encouraging and inspiring, but it resonated in a nice way with you. So thank you for saying that publicly. I endeavor to do the best I can.
we have to stay positive, and we have to do something. Everybody say that they're getting weary and tired and this and that, and Cayman is gone. Let me tell you something. We have government every 4 years. Some of them is properly returned, just about all of them. But we, the people, have the power.
Mm-hmm.
We vote for them and put them in. And when they don't do their job, we have the power to take them back out if we want them back out. But you see, we have too much backbone here in this island once they put these people in. Not just this government, but the majority of the government. We put them in, and we should be able to take them right back out too. And this will be working for us, not be working for them. But when you, I know sometimes you say on the radio, I say it too, we always call on the government to do this, and where the government are doing that. But Sterling, I need to find out who do we need to call on certain things in this island. Then we do call the government should this and the government blah blah blah. So we need to know where to go to get answers to our solutions, since we keep crying government, 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 government.
Mm-hmm.
But you can answer that question later.
Okay.
Okay, or you can find an answer for it. Yesterday, Sterling, in the Minister 4 o'clock bracket, there on Crew Road and Linford Pearson Highway, there was sort of a little road rage going on there yesterday. A lady was driving a little Mini Cooper, and this guy was in this high up van, something like it was an what is ranking exhibition, what do we call him? It was something big in that category. And this man was like trying to take even this lady's face on the road, right? And he practically almost killed this lady yesterday. And what he did to her, gave her a finger gunshot pointing at her in her car, putting his hand as a gun at that lady's car.
Wow.
And this is not the end of this. I have the picture of the car, and I have an idea who the individual is. I'm going to turn it over to the police. Because he could have made that lady lost her life yesterday in the car, the van he was in, and she was in a little Mini Cooper. And he wanted his road space on her road space. And it was so wrong.
Jeez.
So that is what we're getting on our roads are here, and is worse to come. So, leave that at that, Sterling. Sterling, we talk about the population, and we talk about the growth, and we talk about how we have opened the doors so widely. Mario and Sterling, many, many, many years ago, when we start building these condos and timeshares throughout the island, everybody was friendly with the ladies and the gentlemen who was working on the ground. They became pen pals. They went to visit them in their estate, and when they came here to the island, to the condos and timeshares or the private homes, they would invite these people who work there with them to their residence, cook up and eat and have a good time. I just want to say that we're not getting those kind of people no more. And we as Caymanians, I really don't feel that we are trying to badger, I would probably use the wrong word, trying to defeat who is coming here. We are getting a different breed of people coming here now. And we do not appreciate how we, of the few people who are left on this island, when this island was growing, we had the Rankins, the Thompson, the Gillettes, and the Ebanks, and I could go on and on and on with last names, who built this country and who was here and who opened their arms to make all of those people many years ago come here and be comfortable, enjoy the island, and went back to their country. So what I'm trying to say to the world today in Cayman, we are not trying to say that we hate the people who is coming to this island. We just dislike the way that they behave when they come to our island. And we are not doing a good job by people to be able to select. No one is perfect, don't get me wrong. But I do not see why we have to put up with certain things on this island because you become a resident or you have a work permit and in that category. You understand? We can hold some of the people on this island and no more. I just heard on the radio a couple of days ago, we got over 220 new teachers coming to government to work. I never heard how many is coming out of what we got now to bring in these 200 and change of teachers. And how many of them is going to gain resident citizenship for the Cayman Islands? You understand? I'm just throwing this out there. I don't have any proof of anything. So what I'm trying to say is, we're talking about 100,000 people. After we get 100,000 people, what happens then? We got the building left by instead of crackling on the edge of the sidewalk being built. And when are we going to say, you know what? Enough is enough. Sterling and Rankin in there, if we could even see some Caymanians home being built, it wouldn't be so bad. The government building some homes that we were going to get them. You have no clue. You understand? And to be sitting in the government, and we as people who's voters, and they just continue to keep us in the dark. We don't need to know your personal life. It's just like somebody going and add something onto the house, and it's against the law, but yet you can't see a permit on a piece of board up front saying that this individual got permission to add on their property. But you can see a lot of those 2x2s going up in this island since this government took taken over. And I haven't heard of anybody that is being saying take those walls down or whatever the case may be. I think by law, I don't know if I could be wrong, Mario, everybody who is going to build something should have a permit exposed on that property. You understand? And we're building buildings now, and has no name what is being built and how to go about looking for a job at that location, because when that building is finished, the name comes up and all the staff goes into the building. And how many locals got an opportunity to go in there to get a job? Not very many. What I got on the sign on the board outside saying, you know, no employment on site. I mean, come on. But Sterling and Rankin, I'm just hoping that we get a hot conversation today.
We will.
We'll to call back.
Indeed.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you too. And as our guest is Mario Rankin, the caller without question sets the stage by saying, with you in the studio, she's expecting a great conversation, great contribution. The idea that the discussion is going to be something that is not only uplifting and inspiring, but is on point. All right? So I don't think she's going to be disappointed.
Well, certainly I always appreciate her contribution, and she touched on some very serious issues that we face. And one of the biggest issues that we have in Cayman right now is that we're under this misconception that few of the social programs in which we've seen have been implemented in the past and even now is the remedy to fix some of the ongoing issues. So for me, I try my best to look at it from a holistic standpoint in order to formulate a better rounded opinion when it comes on, depends on the issue and certain fundamental problems that we face. Housing and being able to afford a house, and how long you're going to be able to afford the house. These are all the questions that I ask myself, because we as a government or a people or a country or collectively, we could create any situation for a person to attain a house easily, but it's not about just attaining the house or having the opportunity to own a house. It's also having the opportunity to sustain, where you're able to stay in the bracket of being able to afford this home. You know, I take great issue with the government or any person that's in a position to create change or policy or legislation. I take great issue with them suggesting something that is only going to add to the problem, such as, you know, we saw just recently where they're accepting $1.2 million from the European Union to retrofit homes with solar. And one would think that you're anti-solar when you have an objection or you have a conversation or a question to ask. Here I am saying to myself, we have a mortgage crisis in our country. where interest rates are affecting the average mortgage holder, right? We know that these mortgages are demand loans disguised as mortgages. And tell me how much sense it makes to put a $100,000 solar unit on a person's home to reduce their cost of electricity in a home that they could potentially lose due to mortgage foreclosure simply because the interest rates has driven them way out of the bracket of being able to afford it. So again, not saying that high utility rates isn't a problem. I'm saying, why are we prioritizing the thing that is not going to be relevant if the person don't have a home? So, you know, I think that government need to shift gears and where they focus their priorities on, and that's just from one aspect of what we face. And I had a very similar conversation with a few groups of people over the past week, and I try my best to have these little satellite meetings with these individuals so that I can get the feedback from various people to kind of have a better understanding of, you know, what's the gist of what's going on and how people feeling and the atmosphere. And to Ms. Jan's point, when we look at homes and who get into homes and we building all these homes under the government program, that's all fine and dandy. And we are waiving certain stamp duties for first-time Caymanian owners and all these different things. These are initiatives that should take place. I'm not saying that they shouldn't. These are good initiatives. I support these initiatives. However, I think that the greater picture of people being able to sustain and have the ability to maintain owning these homes and being able to enjoy living in them, because you know how fearful it is every month knowing that you don't know if you're going to be able to cover all the bills. Come on, man, Sterling.
That has to be stressful. Huh?
These are the day-to-day stresses that people are having to encounter. And it's not because of any one group or one person doing anything that's creating this environment. It is a collective group of things that is creating this unattainable, unsustainable environment for our people. And far as what I can see, based on policies and initiatives and implementations, the government is not up to the task.
Some will hear that last comment and perhaps misinterpret, misconstrue. Respectfully, probably malign you for saying that, right? But if we listen to all you've just shared, just take the comment prior to that. The stress that people may face on a monthly basis, do they have enough, some is weekly, to cover their loan payment to the bank for their house, to pay the utilities, to buy groceries, right? And then I wonder to what extent that impact on them psychologically and physically and everything else. But then the other people around them, their children, their
the entire environment, their entire environment is affected,
right? And then could that be discouraging? Some people say, well, what's the point? Why do I need to get a better education? I can't get a job anyway. If I get a job, it's not enough to make that whole vicious cycle that could impact their mental state, their psyche, their well-being.
Well, you know the saying that you become a product of your environment, right? So what happens to a child that's growing and being nurtured by a family who is constantly being stressed over having to find the way to keep the lights on, keep the roof over your head, and keep food on the table? What happens to that child? What happens to that environment? Right? And that child becomes subjected to that level of go remember, this is unintentional abuse where kids have to go through simply because of the way the system is and the way things are. I have not heard one single administration sit down and pencil out a solution for the cost of living and then went out and championed it, even if it failed. Not one single administration has
have
done
a plan and try to see if it can work.
And follow through.
You said something that many have been saying recently. Some have condemned us as a people for not recognizing and doing something about it long ago. We always say, I pay my mortgage. But in reality, as we understand from bankers included, that a mortgage is something that is a defined repayment sum over a defined period, and that's it. You pay that amount.
Right.
What we have is, it fluctuates. It could be fixed for 2 years, a year, or 3, but it fluctuates.
Correct.
And you have two choices: pay the new amount, or find yourself
or find yourself homeless.
Right. So to that point, Is that something that the country could address? How
Absolutely.
do we make sure every month your payment is $1,500, $1,200, $1,000, $3,000? You know what it is for the next 10, 15, 30 years.
Well, you have to ask the question, how did you start out at $1,500?
Okay.
The $1,500 must have been enough or sufficient enough for the banks to be able to give you that permission or the green light to get that loan, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, obviously, inflation and different things change where the banks have to make adjustments.
That's been factored in, right?
But it's already been factored in. My problem is that when these issues arise, such as interest rates going up on loans that are not that shouldn't be affected by the interest rates from the Fed dollar, you have to ask the question. Now, I understand that if you enter into an agreement with a lending institution, that you must pay attention to the fine print. But I made it a point to go and look on the mortgage that I have, right? And there's nowhere in that mortgage agreement that says we are subjected to Fed rate interest. Nowhere in there says it. So why are we being subjected to it now?
Here is something else that someone just very early today asked. Why is it? And I want to make sure I repeat exactly. Why is it that the banks here can insist that your loan, your mortgage, in Cayman, on a Cayman Islands property that's securing that loan, your loan is now in US dollars. You can't get it in CI. Apparently, the bank says we're going to lend you 100,000 CI equivalent in US. You can pay back in CI dollars if you want, but it's going to be denominated in US dollars.
Well, I'm not a banker, and I'm not going to pretend to be one.
Yeah.
But I am sensible, and I understand common sense. And one thing I know for sure is that the monies that are being loaned in the Cayman Islands as mortgages are demand loans that are being loaned from depositors' money. Those are the facts. Now, me as a government member, if I was the Minister of Finance or the member in charge of regulating these areas, those are the only things that I would need to know that would make me comfortable enough to have a conversation with my cabinet to implement a law to prevent banks from taking advantage of their customers. End of story. No, I'm not asking the bank to like it. In fact, I'm not even looking for them to like it. In fact, I'm not even having a conversation with them to express whether they like it or not. I'm just simply saying, here is what's on the table. Here is what's in the best interest of the public. Here is the laws that is going to ensure that these things are implemented and followed and enforced. Now, you're not by in any way disenfranchising the bank, or they're not losing any money, because, as we mentioned earlier, they were comfortable with giving you that loan, paying back that $1,500 a month for however long it took for the system to change, that they could justify increasing it to accommodate or to fill the gaps in which they didn't anticipate at the day of the signing of the loan. So for me, when the government say that they're having a conversation with the banks to try to mitigate this issue, and then they come back and say, oh, well, we got the banks to agree to at least give you 30 days warning that they're going to raise the interest rates. Now, tell me, Sterling, where in that acquisition helps the situation of increased interest rates on money that's not supposed to be affected? Where?
I'll share with you two things the same individual said. We can talk about it. He says, one, to the best of his understanding, the only currency that is legal tender in the Cayman Islands is the Cayman Islands dollar. The US dollar, widely circulated, freely accepted, like many jurisdictions, but it's not legal tender. Two, he says, in his view, if a retailer had corn on their shelf and they were selling it, right, canned corn, and it was $1, their shipment of new corn, right, use corn as an example, canned corn, is now, for them to be profitable, should be $2. Is it ethical? Is it appropriate for that old stock that they were selling
to now assume the same price?
To now assume the same price, right?
No, it's not ethical, and it's not right, and it should be criminal.
Do they do it? Maybe do they? So he says the bank's new money that they're lending the customer now isn't the same money that they lent the customer a year ago, 10 years ago. All right? Let's pause. And you know what? Join us after the break. 1-800-534-8255.
Best of the best from
Motion presents Summer Invasion with Popcorn live in concert. Friday, August 25th at Safe Haven. Music by Next Gen Sound, Firebug, Sound Revolution, One Don, DJ Cobra. Hosted by Lady T. Get your tickets from Weather School Spot, Funky Tanks, Winner Circle, Sneaker Lab, Austin Beauty Bar, and eventpro.ky. General 80 pre-sale, 100 at the gate. VIP Era 125 pre-sale, 150 at the gate. Sponsored by Cayman Security Services Limited. Weather School Spot, Winner Circle, Funky Tank, and everything 345.
This is 104.1 FM endorsed event. Gonna be 18 to party. Drink responsibly.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
CUC Advisory. Customers are advised of a scheduled outage on Wednesday, August 23rd between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. on Conch Point Road between Powery Road East to where CUC's electricity service ends. For more information, please contact CUC's customer service team at 949-5200 or email service@cuc.ky.
Introducing Digicel's all-new prepaid plans. Packed with more any-use data than ever before. Entertainment data for the apps you love, like Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok. Plus, endless social data for Snapchat, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So you're always in the know. Stay connected. Stay entertained with Digicel's new prepaid plans. Activate in the My Digicel app today. Digicel. Better connected.
All aboard the Pizza Boat! Cayman's newest pizzeria. Birthday parties, office luncheons, summer camps, game night. Whatever your occasion, bring the fun with Pizza Boat. And Cayman twist to pizza. Bringing fusion ingredients from all over the globe to give you locally inspired fresh pizzas all day, every day. What's more, now you can enjoy a boat-shaped pizza with toppings of your choice. It's Pizza Boat. Pizza Boat, now open in Queens Court on West Bay Road. Pick up or delivery 949-0000 or order online www.pizzaboat.ky. Pizza Boat. Experience the ultimate pizza voyage.
Honey, did you get your Benzorama ticket yet?
Benzorama what?
The Lions Club Benzorama fundraiser. You could win a brand new Mercedes-Benz.
What? I have always wanted a Mercedes. What kind of Benz?
A brand new sparkling 2023 Mercedes-Benz GLA 200. Tickets are $25 for one, $3 for $65, or $5 for $100. And you're helping to support the many Lions Club of Grand Cayman causes.
Driving in my new Benz and feeling good about helping the community.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman Benzorama Fundraiser. Your chance to win a 2023 Mercedes-Benz GLA 200. Benzorama fundraiser tickets are available from Lions Club members and various sales outlets. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman Benzorama fundraiser supports numerous community initiatives, include site screening, Christmas deliveries, restoration, and social services.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for sharing with us. And as we extend, the opportunity for our listeners to call and share, toll free at 1-800-534-8255. Compliments of Flo and Mario Rankin. The caller prayer, a couple of messages that come through. And the question is, in Cayman today, with all the challenges and with the greatest of respect, I think most people would say people get up in the morning, especially those elected or appointed to a high office, in intention of trying to do the very best. one message that I just looked at and read it and said, okay, maybe I misunderstood, let me read it again. The writer is asking, is it that they're ill-informed? Is it that they're consciously misled? Or are they so consumed with everything that they just gotta look like they're doing something so that, as it's written, they're just spinning top in mud?
Well, certainly, certainly I believe that it's none of the above.
Okay.
In my opinion, not saying that the person is wrong. Here's my opinion in regards to that. I think that they absolutely know what they're doing. It's just that the narrative in which they're pursuing is not a narrative in which they've created. It's a prefix narrative, and that's the only thing that makes sense. Why they're so adamant in doing things that don't make sense. You know what I mean? And as I mentioned earlier, in regards to cost of living and the effects of energy and what impacts that have on the average person's day-to-day ability to maintain, their competency when it comes to paying bills. Now, I mean, we could talk for eons about what the issues are, and we can have a load of solutions or suggestions, but none of those things are important unless we're willing to implement them. And by saying that, and what I mean by saying that is that if we're not willing to implement things that are potentially a solution to an issue that we've been facing, then that's where we've gotten it wrong, and if we're comfortable with just having a conversation all the time about the issues, then it's just going to constantly happen over and over. And then when we see governments makes these grand attempts to try to fix some of the issues, and you have to ask yourself the question, well, if I'm aware of this and they got 100 times more resources than me and people that working under them, then they must be aware of this too. There's no way in the world that they're not aware of what I'm aware of. If I've taken 2 or 3 hours out of the night to go and dive into some of the details in which I want to speak about, then why aren't they doing the same? Because we are right now in a position where we have seen the dwindling ability of people being able to maintain their responsibilities and obligations at the end of the month. And it's not because these people don't work hard. It's not because they're not willing to work. And it's definitely not because they're lazy. Ms. Jan mentioned on something in regards to seeing all these buildings being built and, and then who are occupying the workspaces in this. Now, I'll just say quickly in regards to that is that it's painfully obvious that we don't harvest enough people to take every single job that is required to run the Cayman Islands. We understand that. We know that work permits is a part of the economic makeup of the Cayman Islands. So we know that that's a factor that we have to deal with. But when we have a situation where you have a block of people who are unemployed, we know that there's a percentage, and it's a very low percentage, I might add, that are unable to be employed simply because of their attitudes and whatever the specific situation individually is. We know that some people are unemployable. We get that. We're going to always have those people, and sometimes those people are the loudest and the people that creates the most noise to make it seems to be worse than it is. But again, it draws me all the way back to the fact that we have 38,000 work permits. And we have 2,000 people, or maybe a little less now. I'm not sure what the number is. I haven't looked at the statistics recently. But I know that it was like 2,000 people that were unemployed. We have institutions in the Cayman Islands who have been able to write their own policies and their own criteria for who they want to work with them. There's no secret that if a person from a foreign country come here, get established into an institution, they are now part of the mechanisms that hire people. Of course, they're going to by nature look out for their countrymen. You understand? We haven't even learned from that. The fact that we have battled this situation for so many years, for decades, and we haven't even learned from what they're doing. They come here, they get established, they get comfortable, and they reach across the pond and they help their people. We live right here, and we're not even doing that for our own.
Is it then, as you said, a man of the stature, document, intellect of, say, David Rich, right? Prominent attorney, well-spoken gentleman, right? He made a comment years ago, just a factual observation, and our society, the media included, castigated him. He just made an observation as chairman of what was then the Immigration Board. as I understood it, asking the community, take a look statistically at what you're doing, what the population looks like, what impact it may be. I don't think anyone could justifiably accuse him of being anti this or, disrespectful that. He was just making a factual observation. So I reflect on that often, and as you said, it reminds me, if that's the case, when people make a factual statement, there is no perceived bias or malice, and we're not willing to take it on board, and we ignore the potential negative consequences.
Well, and I absolutely agree, and I just point out two areas. Okay, so if we look at real estate and we look at dental assistants, right? Okay. When you were going to high school, which was before me, right? I'm not saying that to take a shot at your age. I'm just trying to illustrate a point.
Well, you know what? I did it to Tony Mac earlier.
All right, okay, good. So here's my point. When you were in high school or even in middle school, leading up to high school, when you know that you were going to end up in the outside world having to participate in whatever economy or whatever institution in which you excelled in or whatever you liked, did anyone in school ever tell you that real estate was an option for a career?
You may give you one worse.
No, hold on.
The answer is no.
Yeah.
But I give you one. Go ahead.
No. Yeah. I want to hear the worst one.
I think it's absolutely worse. I was good in accounting, so I was told. My sister taught me how to reconcile, a checkbook. I knew debits and credits from the time I was about 8 or 9. That's what they did. That's what I knew, right? I thought everybody knew that. I didn't want to do accounting. Thankfully, the accounting firms of the day offered up a number of different scholarships. I didn't want to do it. I had an interest in the language today that I would know, stuff like urban planning, right? Things like what would be akin to a quantity surveyor. But no one told me that. I didn't have any insight into that. Accounting was good.
Look at that.
I wanted to be a developer. I remember when what is now Seaside, right, was coming online. I was reading about it in the little books and the magazines I would find, right? And the knowledge that I had then, the words that were used were neo-traditional design. And that fascinated me. How did these towns work? That was the only part of geography that made sense to me when you talk about population. I didn't care if they were burning and slashing, and that didn't mean nothing to me. How were they living? Why were they living that way? What was the impact of them on their society? And I asked, what is there something I could do with my strong math skills and seemingly the ability for accounting? Quantity surveyor was never there. When I talked about it, I didn't want to be a developer. I didn't want to build houses and lay blocks. Right? I wanted that for people who knew what they were doing. I wanted to do this other thing. Now, those careers existed. People were studying that. But I didn't have any insight.
Yeah.
So I could have been a realtor, perhaps.
Perhaps, yeah. So
was the rest of your example?
I can't remember now, to be honest. And I'm being absolutely sincere. I can't remember.
No, I know. And I was conscious.
No, well, in recent times, I find myself struggling with the short-term memory stuff, and that's just something I'm working on right now. But as I said, when I was in high school, no one ever told me that if I studied to do real estate or if I got into real estate, it would have been lucrative enough to create my own personal wealth. I was never taught that because you don't need a bachelor's degree or a degree. You don't even need a high school diploma to sell real estate, right? It's something that you could have done alternatively from going to college, and it could have created a very nice living for you and your family. I was never taught that. I wish I could remember the second one I wanted to say, which is equally as important. But what I'm saying is that there's a lot of things that weren't taught to us, that we weren't aware of, that we were kept in the dark on, because nobody can tell me that they wasn't selling real estate in the 1970s. It was
dental assistant, right?
Dental assistants, correct. Sorry, thank you for reminding me.
No. And you're my good friend of mine.
And dental assistants, right? I noticed personally because, and I hope the people who work in this industry don't take it personally. I mean, I really don't care, to be honest. I in Cayman, I on Radio Cayman, I think I can speak freely. The fact that there are a large block of imported labor working, answering the phones, taking reservations, even assisting the dentals, But why was that never taught in the Cayman Islands High School as an avenue for young people to have gotten into? And if you look at most of the dental institutions in Cayman, they're filled with people on work permits.
Right. Well, as we go into the break, right, we'll take our WhatsApp call when we come back. Well, let's ask a question. Not only those things that were not sufficiently, if at all, conveyed to us in high school as possible career options. Not just how lucrative, how much money we could make, but even that they were available. Let's ask today, how many people in that sector, just real estate for instance, are...
Don't get me started.
All right.
Listen, they taught me how to bake a cake and sew in school. But they didn't tell me that real estate was important?
Yeah. Let's take this break, take the caller on WhatsApp when we come back. Stay tuned.
They say variety is the spice of life. And that's why at Subway, we are introducing the new boneless hot sub. Say what? The premium sub brings new ingredients like spicy breaded boneless chicken, French's crispy fried onions, and buffalo wing sauce, bringing a zesty and flavorful experience with every bite. Add some of your favorite veggies, cheese, and ranch sauce of your choice of freshly baked bread for the ultimate boneless hot sub. For a little spice in your life, try the new boneless hot sub from Subway.
So good and tasty.
And make it a meal with a drink and chips or cookies. Subway. Eat fresh.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
STEPS participant, if you're wondering why the STEPS team can't get your blood sugar or cholesterol data directly from your doctor, the answer is simple. Your personal medical information is private and confidential. This is why we need you to participate in Step 3, so that we can collect the data we need with your informed consent. So please say yes to Step 3. For more information, call the STEPS team 936-4969.
Looking to grow your business? We got this. Yellow Media Group has a proven track record for successfully marketing over 10,000 businesses on the web, expanding our customers' reach and providing measurable results. With the Caribbean's largest team of certified digital consultants, we handle everything, from website development to search engine marketing and much more. So don't worry, we got this. For a free consultation, contact Lee Hipkins at 936-1981.
Water Authority Cayman would like to advise the public of a planned service interruption at the following locations along and off of Fern Circle and Fairbanks Road in Georgetown. Service will be interrupted tomorrow, Friday the 18th of August from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. to facilitate ongoing planned works in the area. Areas affected include Fern Circle, Carroll Drive, Lamburn's Townhouse Complex, Agape Church, Triple C School, Fairbanks Women's Prison, and Cayman Islands Detention Center.
But I do have some questions.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. And in the studio, excellent company of Mario D. Rankin. A few calls online. Let's take the first. And if they got chocolate, we'll talk to them longer. If not, all right. So after this call, we go to the one following. Welcome. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, afternoon, Mr. Berlin.
Afternoon.
Afternoon to Mario too.
Afternoon, man.
Yeah, man. I was overhearing about the school education and thing and whatnot, right? I graduated in the year 2010, and I can remember not graduating middle school, or at least I never allowed to attend the ceremony at least. But they when I graduated in year 2010 from John Gray, I can remember that they had these thing where you get your job experience, you get to select your subjects you want to study and whatnot, right? And because I have a little Spanish background, I might have picked up on some words at the Spanish class, and just because I could have speak Spanish, they told me I couldn't pick Spanish class, which would affect the job that I wanted to go for now in government, because I was trying to be a marine biologist.
Wow.
No, I had to pick out of the two subjects that I wanted, either what it was, a mechanic class or catering, which was left. I said, well, I'm not willing to get my hands all greasy, so catering it is. I learned how to bake a cake and make donuts and know how to do my little, whatever it is that they do in the culinary district, but I didn't find that as an interest. And when I was in school, they told me, no, you cannot pick that job as a work experience because you picked catering. You have to pick somewhere in the restaurants. I said, but hold on. You didn't tell me that. So the information that they're giving you in school is like misleading the people that have the talent, that want to be something when they get older, and discouraging.
That's unbelievable.
Wow. Yeah.
It happened. I cannot make this stuff up.
No, I don't.
I might be speaking this now, but back then when I was younger, maybe I should have been the same way how I am now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And they're trying to discourage people from standing up and talking as Caymanians. They make us feel like we are a minority. Mm-hmm. But why we go in school for? To indoctrinate us how you want us to be? Mm-hmm. Comply? Come on now. Come on now. We're more intelligent than that as Caymanians. And I feel really insulted when I look at people that we know that they want to tell us something, but are they willing to listen to what we want to tell them to? Or are they just willing for us to listen?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
That's my concern. That's what got me so into this whole entire political stuff that's going on. Because it's affecting me right now. Mm-hmm. Ever since COVID, I see it. It's like a Trojan horse walking into our government. This is not our government. This is the government.
Mm-hmm.
This is the government. The. THE.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not our government. I'm sorry, I don't know these people. They're not my people, that's for sure. They don't know who I am.
Well, let me tell you something, my friend. You're giving me goosebumps. I'm so happy that you're so in tuned and connected to what really going on in Cayman, because I can tell you a lot of people are lost in translation with what you're saying, my friend. Trust me when I tell you, this is not our government. They're not for us.
All right.
If I was to speak up the truth like this, I'm the type of people they want in the mental ward. I'm telling you that from what I know, and I have a skill, and I keep it in that skill. Nobody can take that from me, Even if I go prison right now, I still holding that skill down.
Mm-hmm.
They can't take that from me. They want to do brainwash me.
What you do, man, you take your passion, you hone it and you harness it and you put it to something positive and productive, right? And that collective voice, you, me, Mario, Susan, Jean, Peter, John, we're singing chorus because we're singing together for unity, productivity, and positivity, right? So that's where the democracy is celebrated. Before we take the other call, any other quick point you want to share?
No, I just wanted to state that out because I don't want it to feel like it's some alienated type of thing that's going on. This thing has been here, and we are just being invaded like how it used to be back then, back in them days, where we can't speak about because we're not old enough to know.
Yeah, man. All right. Thanks, man.
No, thank you very much, and your comments and your words and your contribution is inspiring.
All right. Definitely want to read some stuff about the banking sector and the mortgage payments, but let's take this call. Hey, welcome. Thank you for sharing.
Hey, Sterling, good afternoon.
And how are you today? All is well?
All is well, my friend. All is well. Afternoon, Mario.
Afternoon, sir.
Can't say no more than what a young man just said. And I remember myself going to school and being in that same predicament because we never heard of educating students in school with nothing more than banking. We didn't
That's
heard
right.
about our aeronautical. We never heard about nothing else but banking. And today, when I got look after how the system is run with the education system, and that's not what I want to talk about. I want to speak about the housing, but the education system. I have to be so discouraging to know that our government is allowing husband and wives, boyfriend and girlfriends to come into the Cayman Islands and getting the jobs in the schools and taking away our children livelihood of teaching them about what they can get in this country. They're teaching them nothing about the Cayman Islands. They're trying not to give them jobs, like what a young man said. They're trying to discourage them. The children coming out of schools, they're in a zombie land. They don't know where to go because they're not educating them to come out of the schools with nowhere to turn, but just in confusion is where they put our children. And I've seen it before. I have 4 children. I've saw it many times, and I'm still seeing it up to today. And to know that, like what Ms. John said, 200 teachers come into the Cayman Islands this term now to get to work, and half of them are family members into this country. That grieves me so bad to know that this government that we have is introducing nothing but just insanity with disgusting acts of I don't even know what to call it, to block our own children from getting into these school systems to get work and allowing families to come here and work into these schools. It is disgusting to me to know that it has to happen in these little islands because the government is paying them come here, like what they say, they come here and they get their big home, they take everything from us, and we are left with nothing. It's about high time that somebody sees something and speak up regarding these things, besides just me here on Cayman Rock, and I wish that something will be soon done where our children can have jobs in these schools, especially to teach their other little students coming up. We can't allow these teachers to be coming here and teaching our children about their country, where they come from. And I know asking Sterling, I can tell you what I see in the schools, and I've worked in the school system, and I have seen it where they're teaching the children about their country, and they're not even the poor children in the Cayman Islands can't even tell you who the governor of the Cayman Islands are.
Mm-hmm.
It is sad.
Yeah,
it
man.
is sad.
Yeah,
and to know that they can't get jobs when they come out of school because they want to teach them one thing, and that about banking. It's a serious situation, but anyway, I wanted to speak about the housing, but I'll call you some other time.
All right, thank you for that too. And I know we're going to go into the news. We had a couple of calls. Mario, this listener writes in response to Mr. Rankin's comment about the bake and the cake and the sewing in the school. So that was fun, but they should have tied that into our business studies. Even the woodworking classes were great, but they never told us we could make those into craft items to sell to the tourist market.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. And there was a lot of emphasis that weren't put on to all the things that they were teaching us in the high school. And I just would like to say to the caller before the last that, I didn't graduate from high school. I was allowed to stand in the audience and watch everybody graduate simply because I had missed a certain percentage of school because I was back and forth. But whatever. Again, that shouldn't have been a hindrance for me being able to make a positive contribution to my society and my economy and my and our country. So,
yeah. All right. We'll hit the news. Take the callers on hold if they're able to. Thank you for staying online. Join us after.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Department of Education Services will be closed on Friday, August 18th from 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. to enable staff to attend the annual Education Professionals Welcome event. Regular operations will resume at 12:30 p.m. In international news, more than 100 people have been arrested in a city in East Pakistan after thousands of Muslims burned churches and vandalized homes. Violence in Jaranwala was sparked by claims that 2 Christian men had torn pages from the Quran. The historic Salvation Army Church was still smoldering on Thursday, one day after the riot. Russian and Belarusian track and field athletes are unlikely to be able to compete at the 2024 Olympics, says World Athletics President Lord Coe. World Athletics has banned competitors from the two countries from its events, including under a neutral flag, because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The International Olympics Committee has said athletes should be able to compete as neutrals. However, Lord Coe said World Athletics' position was very clear. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Sollins.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom. Today's biggest news.
Freedom, Cayman Rack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Welcome back. Thanks for sharing with us. And opportunity now to continue our conversation. Thanks to Mr. Mario Rankin for inspiring the dialogue, encouraging the confidence and the courage of people. Let's take a couple of these calls. Welcome. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yes, Sterling.
Uh-huh.
Yes, me again. Sterling, you know, when my daughter was going to John Clay High School, they fed her a lot of negativeness that she never amount to anything. So they had a success passport going on then, and they were paying them $400 a month, giving them this $400 a month allowance, and go to this passport success program. Anyhow, she decided she's going to go and try it, and then she did it, and she went down to the hotel. It was at the, one of the hotels on the Rascal Road. They were doing some whatever, catering down there, whatever, laundry, do certain things, right? So it was her birthday, so she decided to go down there to have dinner one evening. And this lady that knew her told her that she could not dine in the restaurant at the hotel. And she asked her why. Oh, because you're a student. You pass for the success. You cannot dine in this restaurant here at the hotel. And she's like, excuse me? And the woman was from somewhere far up Europe or wherever she was from. And then my daughter could tell me like weeks after. I told her, why didn't you tell me earlier? You know, I would have went down about it. And they wouldn't let my daughter sit in the restaurant. She went in there as a paying customer. You understand? She wasn't working that particular day.
Wow,
but,
that level of discrimination. Wow.
Yes. And they wouldn't let her stay in the restaurant for her birthday. And she graduated, and they told her she wasn't going to amount to anything, and she came out, and she went and worked in the bank, and she went and worked in the law firm, and now she's back in the banking, and she went and did a course at UCCI some time ago. So you see, there's some of that in the schools. Some of that is into the schools, and my daughter experienced it. So it's not all a story that somebody's making up. This is what's happening out there, but it is true. Told her that she wasn't going to amount to anything, and she must go and get in this passport of success. As when that first came out, they took her and many more and threw into it. Alrighty?
All right. Well, thanks for sharing, and it's a sad experience that's something that we experience, especially for a child to be told from the school system, a comment like that.
Yeah, to be told that in any regard.
In any regard. Thanks very much, man. Wow.
But
let's take a caller.
Yeah.
Welcome. Thank you for calling. All right. If you're joining us and you're able, just turn off the radio. Welcome. Thanks for sharing. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dwayne. Good afternoon, Mr. Mario.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Pleasant day to you. How are you?
but thankful, you know.
Man, any other day I would be inclined to make a joke, but I gotta leave it be for today.
Yeah, you know why? Because plenty more places is hotter than us.
Uh-huh.
And then another thing, it's our fault, you know. No, I'm not saying it's our fault. Why it is the climate is this hot. I'm saying we're chopping down too much trees, putting up too much concrete. And you know the story behind the concrete. We're not looking like an island, you know. We're looking like a city. and yet we say we're catering to tourists. They left that behind. Are they coming in to see the same thing? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. But I can leave that behind, and I'm going to say what my friend John just said. That is true, because my husband that has been here from 1969, anyhow, 50-something years, 51, maybe 52, 53 years. Many places he go, they still call him as a foreigner. But he didn't get Cayman status through me or by marrying me. He got it long time before. Then his foster gave him that. And I'm younger than him, but I'm still getting up there. Every one of us. And Mario, you don't feel too sad about your short-term memory, because that comes and goes with all of us. But I got a story. Are you coming to the news, Dwayne?
No, we're on the downside of 2. Next break, 15:15. We take some calls between now and when we end at 2:30. But the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. I have a story to tell. It happened many years ago. We were marching, a group of us was marching to preserve the West Bay Road, you know, the back road that we now can't even drive. Okay, a group of us had gotten together, and a lot of Caymanians made fun of us and called us troublemakers and stuff, because they didn't stick together. We got people to sign a petition so we could take it to the governor, and the governor gave it. Long story short, I can make that one short. The governor then turned around and gave it to the minister then in charge, was McKeever Bush. So anyway, he looked at it, and it was we prefer that when the person signed the paper, we had it done so Caymanian, resident. They didn't have to tell us what year they were born, but just say your age. So a few young people that were marching with us between 10 and 12 were the children of the people that were with us. And they understood, because we had meetings and we included them in our meetings. Anyway, when McKeever received this, he made fun of us. And he says, seems like we had 10-year-old and 12-year-old signing, and yet we call them the leaders of tomorrow. Okay, we laughed at that. He took it and he tore it up, you know, after he got on the steps of the glass house and whatnot. Yet people kept putting the man back into politics. But that was okay. We didn't get what we want, but we tried. We did try. The thing is, what we were trying for was not to let one man buy up everything and say it's his own, even though that man became Mr. Dark, became Caymanian. He's now a Caymanian. And hardly anybody see him. He's like a ghost. But then it was an elderly lady with us. Sometimes we had even carried chairs for her, carried chairs for the elderly so she could sit down. And she was about to lose her house. And she was working in one of the hotels on the 7 Mile area. The poor lady had a stroke, but she owed the bank $3,500. She took it. At that time, with the stroke, her I think it was her right side. One of her sides were paralyzed. She could no longer go back to work. That was her house that she built from hard work and whatnot. Okay, they just owe the bank now $3,500. Instead of the government of the day paying that off, that poor lady could stay in her house, no, they made the bank take it over, and then they turned around and they paid rent for her in some place that she wasn't familiar with. She wasn't familiar with the district. And shortly afterwards, that lady had another stroke through the stress that our own people, our own leaders put her in. Now, what sense does that make? Instead of paying that loan off so she could rest in her own bed and admire herself, because be proud of herself, because she only had to borrow a small amount from the bank, and it was half paid to finish the house. The house was long time finished. She was living in it. Now, as time go by, we don't see any improvements. We hear a lot of BS, I'm going to say, because the real word I wanted to say, and I pray to the good Lord that He forgive me, because it's down in my heart to say it, but I can't say it on the radio. And you both are gentlemen, and I'm glad that Mario is on with you, because what he says makes sense. It makes sense to me. It makes sense to my friends. It makes sense to a lot of people. But who's admitting that in government and say, this guy makes sense? Or the next person makes sense. You know what I'm told sometimes when I call your show, and sometimes when I call Sunday's show.
Okay.
My OC2, but these last couple of mornings I couldn't get to him at all. Anyway, you're a troublemaker. Well, you want to make trouble, or what?
I would tell you.
Yeah. But that doesn't stop me. You know why? Because I am a born, bred Caymanian. Big family, come from a big family. Unfortunately, I lost all of my uncles. All of them were seamen, including my grandfather, including my father. And if I can't say what I think and the truth of how I think, where can I go and say it? Even though my father was from Honduras, I only went there twice. I wasn't born there. And when he came here, it was no such things of Cayman status and whatnot. And he's long time passed, unfortunately. Okay, can I go Honduras and tell them things that I think that what I think that they should do?
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Charlene, we are at that break. Respectfully, ma'am, we are going to interject, and please forgive us. Stay tuned. We'll join the other call after.
Honey, did you get your Benzorama ticket yet?
Benzorama what?
The Lions Club Benzorama fundraiser. You could win a brand new Mercedes-Benz.
What? I have always wanted a Mercedes. What kind of Benz?
A brand new sparkling 2023 Mercedes-Benz GLA 200. Tickets are $25 for one, $3 for $65, or $5 for $100. And you're helping to support the many Lions Club of Grand Cayman causes.
Driving in my new Benz and feeling good about helping the community.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman Benzorama fundraiser. Your chance to win a 2023 Mercedes-Benz GLA 200. Benzorama fundraiser tickets are available from Lions Club members and various sales outlets. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman Benzorama fundraiser supports numerous community initiatives, includes site screening, Christmas deliveries, restoration, and social services.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Get ready for more with Digicel's all-new prepaid plans. More any-use data to browse. Entertainment data for Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok. Plus, stay connected with endless social data for Snapchat, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. With Digicel's new prepaid plans, you'll never miss a beat. Activate in the My Digicel app today. Digicel. Better connected.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I go and flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Start your day in the know. Don't miss a beat. Radio Cayman's 7 a.m. news keeps you informed every Monday through Saturday at 7 a.m.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back, and trust and pray that you have now a wonderful, day. Mario Rankin makes the conversation and the company even better. And through you, I think we inspire callers, right? Encourage them to share their thoughts. Let's join this next caller. Welcome. Thanks for sharing.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
How are you today, sir? How are you?
Good afternoon.
As usual, and good afternoon to Mr. Mario as well. I don't want to be so aggressive, or shall I say, trying to insult anybody. But I think the general consensus that I'm receiving now, and the street talk, is that what they say about Caymanian, they all talk, and some things I agree with. Yeah, we come at that stage now that it's just hot air, just all talk. Having said that, to say this, what's going on in the Cayman Islands, I never dreamed in my wildest thoughts or dreams that I would see the Cayman Islands come to what we come to now. Hitting a few points. Where in hell is all of this money coming from to put up these buildings, apartments, condominiums, and all of where all of this money is coming from? Is this all good money, or is this money that like the oligarchs or something? Where this money is coming from? Even if it's good money, genuinely good money, not corrupt money, what is going on into the Cayman Islands? I drove just down across the turtle farm just about half an hour ago, and it's so disheartening to see that our authorities would leave these people to do as they see fit. About you can't tell them what to do with their land, but they can tell you and I what to do with our land. You know, I mean, I am so disgusted to see what's happening in this beautiful little island, what's taking place. All you can see people going right, left, and center, full speed ahead about construction with all kind of equipment. Your coastline is now diminished to high-rise buildings. If you want to see a little bit of the coastline or the water, you have to go by maybe West Bay, Public Beach, or the Turtle Farm. And everything else, you're going to be like the walls of Jericho. It is going to be so disheartening, so unattractive to anybody that wants to come here, that the story that we have told for so many generations is just being demolished because of money. Now, in my opinion, which I'm entitled to, there is so much money being passed around into this country to get favors done, it is not funny anymore. And I want to say to Mr. Mario, my friend, until the day that we get enough cojones together in the street and say, look, we have to do something, are we going to do something? This is going to continue. The people that are coming in here and doing this construction, these hungry-belly people, they don't care. They would build on top of a mother's grave. And who has the decency or the courage to say, look, man, we need to relax this, eh? I mean, in another 5 years, there can be no place to build. The Cayman Islands can be like a gigantic cruise ship out in the ice, out in the ocean. You know, I am so upset with what I see going on in this island, and nobody is doing or saying anything. Only you or I will talk on the show. But your authorities, if you see them, they dodge you any way they can do it. They don't want to see you. And the truth is, I don't want to see them either, because my opinion is they are so, I don't know, it's everything else except what we expected. Gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to my few words.
Thank you too for sharing. Mario, I'm going to read some stuff here, but as I call it, was sharing, but your thoughts.
Well, I have to agree with the gentleman on pretty much all of his points, and the reality is that, you know, we constantly hear, who are we developing for? We constantly hear, you know, Caymanians are being disenfranchised in the workplace. You know, it's hard for us to even consider the idea that we're going to participate in all aspects of the growth of our economy and the way that things are going. We see now that the struggle for people to just simply pay their light bill has become a marathon. It's an issue in which we have to face. Now, a lot of things that can be done and implemented right away that could assist with trying to alleviate some of the issues that we face. But again, to one of the callers' points, or one of the people who texted in that said, you know, is this government, or is the government designed to actually help the people, or is it to maintain the system the way it is and help it along to continue things to continue the way they are? I mean, you know, you've always heard me say that we have this open door policy, we have this red carpet service, and we're catering for a party and having a party that we're not even invited to. Because when we look at the institutions that are operating within the Cayman Islands, and we look at the persons who are on the executive level of these institutions, and they don't have an issue. And I'm finding it hard to believe that we can create such a dream that is being accomplished and realized by this group of people in the same place in which we are having charities to feed our children. And we're having banquets and GoFundMe pages to help people to do the simple things in life. I don't subscribe to the idea that we should be sticking our hand out in a charity begging for people to feed our children. You saw where they just cut $3 million from the lunch budget. $3 million the government just cut from the lunches for the kids in school. That just came out in the papers. Now, does that mean they're going to amp up the Feed Our Children program so that they can pick up the slack? I don't know. Do we necessarily have to structure legislation, policies, and things that will make sure that the country has a sovereignty that is being well seasoned and well greased and well lubricated, where we can assist our own people, where we don't have to be doing these things? You know, I speak about this on a daily basis. We have the financial service industry, and I can tell you these are the powerful people in the country, right? The financial service industry manages over $3 trillion annually through mutual funds and hedge funds and all these different things, right? I'm not going to let the pension providers off the hook either, but I'm just illustrating this very quickly because I know we're limited. I noticed that your digital clock is 2 minutes fast. Just point that out to your handler over there. But all I'm saying is that, you know, when we look at these institutions that operates in that area, the financial service industries make a lot of money for its equity partners, its senior partners, it you know, for the administrators and everybody in these institutions. And that's all fine and well. You know, when we look at the things that the government get from this and the country on a whole, we get the licensing fees, the work permit fees. You know, we get a couple of these things that is okay, and then it also employs 60% of our middle class. Okay, but are we willing to let that just be the price that we pay and the benefits that we reap? I think not, because 25% of that $3 trillion goes into servicing, goes to the equity partners and the firms itself in order to take care of these companies. So why don't we have a sovereignty attached to that goes into a sovereignty, a percentage of that 25%, because it don't affect the customer. So we can't say that we're going to be running away customers because they're not affecting the customer. It's affecting the equity partners who carry
their profits, right?
Who are carrying home the 20 and 10 and $15 million annual bonuses. And believe me, I'd want to be very clear now. I don't have a problem with anybody reaping the fruits of their labor. I don't, right? I don't have a problem with that. But what I'm saying is that if we have created such an environment for an entity and for a sector of our economy, then why is it that we're not benefiting more from it? Why are we just satisfying with they employ the middle class, they give us licensing fees, and they pay work permit fees? And these are the fundamental issues that I have with how it's structured, because the 25% that are being paid into these firms, we just need 5% to go into our sovereignty. That 5% will be in the tone of hundreds of millions of dollars a year. That can pay for social welfare, that can pay for education, that can pay off mortgages for people who are struggling, for the Caymanian people. These are the things that we need to be focused on, because it's not like it's a unicorn. Other countries have already adopted strategies on how they distribute their resources that they sell in their country. Dubai, Singapore, these countries take the resources that they sell and they inject it back into their people. So you know, the fact that we got a family, I don't care whether it's 1 out of 1 million. I don't care the fact that we have a family that has to drive around and borrow money to feed their children, bathe their children on the West Bay Road public beach, and sit in a car in a Wi-Fi zone so they can message people. These are the things that we got to be concerned about. And again, we have $3 billion in pension, but yet we don't invest no money locally. We have a hotel that is being built right in front of our public beach parking lot. The ugliest hotel in the history of the Caribbean is being built in the Cayman Islands next to the Kempton, called Indigo. How did the DART organization end up with that land? And why are they building it next to our public beach, where is the only place we can go without anybody running us? And now we're gonna inundate it with all of these people who are gonna come. So where you think these people are gonna go to the beach? You think they're gonna walk down to Victoria House. They're not going to walk to Victoria House. They're not going to walk. They're not going to walk to Smith back of there. They're going to walk straight across the street.
Or the hotel down the
straight across the street, straight on the public beach, and that's what's going to happen. And Dart organization would have gotten a free beach. He has a hotel now on the beach for free. You think Cayman would have been able to do that? Not in a million years, Darlene. And that piece of property, and I can remember intimately, because Mario Dion Rankin was involved with the 4 Cayman Alliance deal with McKeever Bush and that group when they were brokering that deal. And I can venture to tell you that we had bad negotiators at the table. And what we're seeing now is a clear result of that. Because where that hotel is where the Barbara Green parking lot was supposed to be. Where the Barbara Green parking lot is now is where the campground in the park was supposed to be, and the beach was supposed to be preserved for the Caymanian people. But no, now we have a big 10-story hotel behind the parking lot next to a road connector that wasn't supposed to be there to accommodate the Kempton guests from having to drive up to the roundabout to head back town. These are all the things that happened after the fact, and no one's saying nothing about it. So you got the government, you got this government, who had issues with it prior to, but now that they're in power, they have no issues now. Our premier is the biggest conservationist in the world. He passed the conservation law. How he not said one word about this?
Mario, tomorrow, Friday, maybe we have some more discussion, right? We got a couple of comments relative to the banking sector we'll share tomorrow. Feel for the plight of many when they talk about the increase. This one comment relative to the interest rates, they'll be paying on mortgages, but it's the interest rates that be being, sort of received on a savings account is still in the basement. All right. Tomorrow, we invite you to be a part of it. Please join Mr. Orrit for the record. Come back for Talk Today after our midday news, and invite you to share. I'm just going to exit today and say be well, be safe, be smart, and be gracious and graceful. Until tomorrow, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.
Here is where tradition never dies. This is your radio.